Hi Year 12. This lesson we're going to consider the electrolysis of lead bromide. Now last lesson we covered all the key terms that you can see now on the screen, and it might be useful for you to go back and review that lesson. But in a nutshell, this lesson we're going to be talking again about the cathode, which is negatively charged, and the cathode will attract the positively charged cations. The anode then is the positively charged electrode, and it will attract the negatively charged anions. And remember, this attraction happens because opposite charges attract. The substance then that we're breaking down, and the substance that's made up of these ions, is called the electrolyte. Now if we take these key terms and we apply them then at the very start to the electrolysis of lead bromide. Now at the bottom of page 115 you can see we've got this diagram, and we're just going to add in these labels. Now the first thing that we have is our power supply, and remember that can be a battery or it can be a power pack. Attached to the negative side of the power pack then we have our negatively charged electrode, and we're going to add in as well to remind ourselves that this negatively charged electrode is the cathode. And if you think back to last lesson, we talked about the word panic to help us remember this, and the NIC of panic stands for negative is cathode. Then we have got in our beaker our molten lead bromide, and we're going to add a label to tell ourselves and remind ourselves that this is the electrolyte. Now remember, the electrolyte has got to be an ionic substance because we've got to have ions involved in order to free these because the ions have got to be free to move. The fact that it's molten is really important because remember that ionic substances, the ions in these can only move if the substance is molten. If it were a solid, the ions would be in a fixed position and they wouldn't be able to move. Now on the other side of the diagram we have got the positive electrode, and the positive electrode, if we look up at the word panic, the PA of panic stands for positive anode. The positive electrode is the anode. Now if you look at the equation at the bottom of the screen then, this is the equation that we're going to copy in to the top of page 116. Now it's really important to remember that when these ionic substances are electrolyzed, they will always decompose or break down to form the solid metal, and they will always form the non-metal gas. Now this solid metal will always form at the negative cathode, and you can see in your diagram there that we do have some of this, and we're going to label this up as the lead. Then at the anode we will always have the non-metal gas forming, and these will be diatomic gases, and you can see that we have got bubbles of bromine gas being given off at this anode. So like I said, it's really important to remember that they always break down in the same way, and the state symbols here are important as well. They will break down to form the metal at the cathode and the non-metal gas at the anode. And your exam paper will ask you for observations for lead bromide at the anode and the cathode, but we're going to come to that in a wee bit more detail just now. Now on page 116, just working on down below where you've written the equation, we have got a few questions. Listen, you can see then that we have explained how we managed to form this lead at the cathode and how we managed to form this bromine gas at the anode. And remember, all the ionic substances that we need to consider will decompose in the same way to form this metal at the cathode and the non-metal gas at the anode. Asking, why do you think graphite is used? Now we covered this last lesson, but we're going to write in to remind ourselves the yellow sentence, graphite is inert and it's a good conductor of electricity. Remember, graphite is the only covalent substance that we know that has these free electrons. The electrons are free to move, they carry the charge, and hence graphite can conduct. We're told then in the next box, we're asked the question, so how does electrolysis work? We're told number 1, and it would be good to highlight that, electricity is passed through the molten ionic salt. Like I said, we're asked the question again, why does the salt have to be ionic? And we're going to write in the yellow sentence, ionic salts contain ions. The next question we've already covered, but we're writing in just to be really clear. Why does it have to be molten, or even we could dissolve it to make a solution? We're going to write in the yellow sentence again to free up the ions so that they can move to the electrodes. Remember, I said that if the ionic substance is solid, the ions are held in a fixed position by really strong ionic bonds and the ions are not able to move. Now, we're going to go on down the first question page and we're going to consider, first of all, what happens at the cathode. And remember, the cathode is the negative electrode. Now, I'd like you to highlight that the positive lead ions are attracted to the negative cathode. Now, if you look at the diagram then, I could fill in that my lead ions with a Pb2 plus charge, and you've not got the diagram in your, well, you've got a similar diagram in your notes. The Pb2 plus ions are attracted to this negative electrode, and it's just simply because opposite charges attract. Now, in your notes, will you highlight again, at this point they collect 2 electrons, and like we said before, they form lead metal at this negative cathode. Now, keep working down the page. Will you highlight as well? When electrons are gained, we call this reduction. We're going to fill in the sentence, reduction is the gain of electrons. We're putting rig beside it because last lesson we covered the easy way to remember what oxidation and reduction is to use the word oil rig, or the 2 words oil rig. So these lead ions have been reduced. Now, to the right then, we have got a little box for your observations. Because we're forming lead, we will see lead being formed, and lead is a silvery grey metal. And these observations are really important. Now, the last line then on page 116, we're asked for a half equation. Now, I'm going to write the half equation on my screen in green, and we're really just showing how these electrons are being gained. So our lead, our Pb2 plus ion, gains 2 electrons, it is reduced, and in doing so, it forms an atom of solid lead metal. Now, if we turn over then to page 117, we're going to consider what happens at the anode. Now, remember, at the anode, I said that the non-metal gas will always form. So will you highlight in the box, the negative bromide ions are attracted to the positive electrode. So I can go and I can fill in on my screen then that it's the negative Br minus bromide ions that are attracted to this positive electrode. At this point, keep highlighting, they donate their electrons to the electrode, and in doing so, they turn into a molecule of diatomic bromine. Now, highlight in your notes, when electrons are lost, we call this oxidation. And oxidation, what you write in, is the loss of electrons. And there's our oil rig to keep us right. Oxidation is the loss of electrons. These bromide ions have been oxidized. Now, will you go then to the observations box and will you write in that a red-brown pungent gas is evolved. Pungent just means that it's got a strong smell, and this is our bromine gas that we have talked about. In the same way then, we're going to pop in the half equation. So we have got 2 bromide ions, and we've got 2 of them because of the formula of lead bromide. They are changing into diatomic bromine gas, and in the process they are losing 2 electrons, and the positive anode will take these 2 electrons. Now these half equations are really only for higher tier students, so if you're doing foundation tier, you'll not need to fill them in. Now, like I said, the observations are important, and if we go